Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not worry about the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would already know that the title of tonight's show is Good News. And I think good news can be coming your way and everyone else's as well, because there are two powerful conjunctions of planets happening in the heavens right now, and they both indicate good news, but of a different type. And so, since Gemini is the sign that does rule communication and change and the public and all short forms of communication such as journalism, advertising, buying, selling, renting, and promoting, there is the possibility now that if it's not you that's getting good news, it could be a neighbor of yours or a pal of yours, and it could be the kind of news that could really expand right now. And the reason why is because there are 3 planets in Gemini, where we just had a new moon last week. The first planet is Mars. It's a planet of dynamic energy, but it also can rule anger and war and danger. And because it's in the sign that rules conversation and gossip, there could be a little malicious gossip going on around you. So you better not believe everything that you hear right now. And don't take the bait if somebody's trying to make you angry. Sort of try to step back or withdraw if you can. Because beyond Mars are the 2 planets that are conjuncting, the Sun and Jupiter, both in Gemini, very, very close. And Jupiter rules expansion. So if there is any news coming to you, either just through casual conversation or perhaps a handy tip from somebody, you should follow up on that, because even if you were starting a short project, or if you were only going on a short trip, it might expand into something really good for you, since Jupiter is such a good planet. So there's that kind of news about our friends or our neighbors or our everyday life. And since Gemini does rule change and smooth transitions, you might just hear of a little something that is related to what you're already doing, but something that you'd like to do even more, and you may get the opportunity to do that. The second conjunction that is occurring right now is right ahead of Gemini. It is in the sign of Cancer, and it involves Gemini's ruler, Mercury, because Venus is at 13 degrees of Cancer today, and it is conjuncting Mercury at 17 degrees. The 13th degree of Cancer is a critical degree. It is the exact degree of the United States sun sign. And because Venus is a very loving planet, and it is conjunct that planet of communication, Mercury, there can be some good news about our country. However, the important thing is that the planets that are in Gemini are standing alone. Yes, it's a powerful conjunction between the Sun and Jupiter, but there's nothing in Libra and there's nothing in Aquarius to fortify it. However, the planets in Cancer are really being fortified and upheld, and that is because Venus and Mercury in Cancer are being trined by Saturn in Scorpio and also by Neptune in Pisces. So that grand trine in water signs simply can make us all rather sure of our feelings. So the good news that can be occurring from that conjunction would be about the things that Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces rule. And so it could be good news about our homes or our families, or good real estate news, actually, because that's what Cancer rules as well. It also rules the masses, and it rules organizations that serve them, such as unions or even Congress. And so there just is the possibility now that there can be very good news about our country. But for you on a personal level, it means you could be really sure about your feelings. And since Venus in Cancer is trining Saturn in Scorpio, it means that old family ties or old friendships really do hold up. And there could even be the news of some money coming to you that may be delayed. So I'm not saying the news is coming now, but it could be coming by July, and it could involve some increase in financing or an inheritance or even financial aid that finally becomes available. And all of that can make you pretty happy too. At the same time, there are 3 retrograde planets, and those 3 planets are all going backward, but they are harmonious with each other. Saturn is retrograde in Scorpio. It is sextile Pluto, which is retrograde in Capricorn, and Pluto is sextile Neptune, which is retrograde in Pisces, and that simply means with 3 or more retrograde planets that someone is going back and deciding to review some opinion of theirs, or they are willing to review a position they've taken, or some sort of decision that they've made, or a policy that they've put in place, and there could be a very thorough review of that in order to marshal the truth or their forces in order to make some sort of power play or correction by this fall. And that's entirely possible. Particularly with Neptune in Pisces, there could be a cover-up that would need to be reinvestigated, and that is possible as well. So as people are repositioning themselves, they can be changing their minds about something. So particularly if you've had any kind of a suggestion that has not met with success, maybe it will now as people begin to change their minds or review their ideas or their decisions that could eventually work out to be good news for you. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, what it means is that you can be a person who is sort of caught between a rock and a hard place right now. And the reason why is that Pluto in Capricorn is squaring your sun, Aries, and also Venus and Mercury in Cancer are also squaring your sun. And so what it means for you, Aries, is that you are going to have to, your love life may not be too good, or it can simply be that you need to understand that other people can be enjoying good news of their own, and instead what you need to do is you need to go ahead and try to understand that people can be more interested in their family life right now than they are in your plans. So there can be a change in your family or your home that is more the choice of somebody else than it is of you. And so you'll just have to comply with that. Authority figures can be changing their minds as well, or re-examining their decisions about something, and when they do that, you may have your authority questioned in some way, and you may have to make some sort of choice about a new avenue that you could be taking. So I think that there are some challenges in your life right now, Aries, and they can be a little bit hard to cope with, but lucky you. The moon is in Leo today, and the moon trines Uranus in your own sign. So there could be a charismatic person around you or attracted to you right now, Aries, and they could be a little bit glamorous, they could be a natural leader, and they could be very drawn to some new ideas that you have. So if the status quo is proving a little challenging to you, something brand new could be quite appealing. So maybe you should go for that instead. Maybe that's where the good news is. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is a time when there can be sudden change that can jar you a little bit behind the scenes, and it would be related to a new start of one sort or another. Another thing that's going on at the same time, besides a little consternation behind the scenes, is that moon in Leo is squaring your sun right now, and it does denote a very charismatic person who may be able to go ahead and challenge you successfully now, Taurus. In fact, I think they are going to succeed. If you and somebody else who was sort of a natural leader were vying for the same thing, I think they would get it right now. And that is because that moon in Leo does have support from Uranus in Aries. And also, you are burdened with some sort of past financial matter or a delay in the money that isn't cleared up yet because Saturn in Scorpio is opposing your sun sign. And so I think that you are going to have to really be very, very careful right now, Taurus, and try not to reach up too high for anything right now, because you could be challenged as somebody else might get what you want right now. But on the other hand, Pluto in Capricorn is trining your sun, and that means your long-term security is not being threatened. But if there is something that you don't get right now, it's because somebody else is just a little better suited for it, and they're going to go for it. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, this is a wonderful time for you because, as I said, there are 3 planets in cardinals in your sign, and because Mars is there, it could really energize you right now, Gemini. In fact, you could sort of overdo it, and the reason why you could overdo it is because you may say too much, or you might come on a little bit too strong right now, or you could be just very pressured by all the things that are going on in your life, and you could be scattering your forces a little bit. But still, Gemini, the Sun and Jupiter are conjuncting in your sign. That means either you are the person that's going to have some pretty good news for somebody else, or else it's really headed your way. And remember, I said there could be two favorable or lucky changes occurring in people's lives right now. That really does pertain to you, Gemini. So if you had two dreams, maybe they could both come true right now, or at least a little of each. And I'm sure that would make you very happy. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, this is certainly a wonderful time for you. I'm sure you're in the mood for love, Cancer, and the reason why is Venus is in your sign at that critical 13th degree, and it is conjuncting Mercury, which is at 17 degrees in your sign. So either you or somebody in your family has some very good news to share with you, Cancer. It can be that you can be in a very loving and forgiving mood, and you could be very interested even in financially supporting somebody who really has a need for money right now. Maybe they're getting married. Maybe they want to go back to school. Maybe they are trying to help one of their own children or a relative. So you could be extremely generous and loving right now, and you could be very protective of your loved ones, Cancer. There could also be very good news about real estate. So if you were thinking of buying or selling, I think that you'd be able to buy at the right price and also sell at the right price. So you might consider that, Cancer, because there can be some money around since Saturn in Scorpio is trining your Sun, but it's retrograde. There can be money that has been held, but you could get delayed news about that perhaps by July when Saturn goes direct, and that could help you do something for your family. So I think you are now heading into a very good year, Cancer, and that all of your relationships, the really important ones which have stood the test of time, in other words, people who've been loyal to you, those relationships are really going to blossom and expand. So I want to congratulate you. And that's why I don't think you have anything to worry about. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, the moon is in your sign today. Lucky you. That is because your sign is a rather lucky sign. And that simply means that with Uranus and Aries trining your Sun, Leo, that you could have a lucky break. And that could come about from a casual conversation that you have with somebody who sort of gives you a little tip about something that you're really interested in. Well, if you just followed that up, Leo, you probably could be able to take advantage of some sort of lucky or fortunate change right now, because both conjunctions are right behind your Sun sign, Leo. In other words, Venus conjuncting Mercury is right behind your Sun sign. That means there can be very good news about a family or a real estate matter. And then the three planets in Gemini are right behind that. And that means there can be good news about either a relative of yours or a friend of yours or even a neighbor, and there can be change there as well. And Uranus is trining your Sun. So this is a time when you can begin to blossom, Leo, and I think you're really ready for it. Mars is not in Taurus anymore. It's not squaring your Sun. Saturn still is, and it is extremely well fortified right now. So maybe there still isn't going to be enough money, but somebody could be changing their mind. It might take them clear till the end of the summer to reconsider something, but when that happens, you probably will benefit, Leo. So don't give up on anything. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, you need to be very, very careful. My advice to you all week is back off, Virgo. And the reason why is that there could be somebody who would like to spread some malicious gossip about you, or they'd like to egg you on into making some sort of angry retort, or they could be pressing you so hard to do things that you'd be just wearing yourself out. And that's why you need to back off. And the reason why is those three planets in Gemini, Mars, the Sun, and Jupiter, are squaring your your sun. And it isn't the sun and Jupiter that you need to worry about. That can still denote good news by somebody else that you know. But that Mars squaring your sun means that someone could be jealous of you, or they could just simply decide that if you are up for a promotion, that they might just decide to ruin that in one way or another by spreading malicious gossip. You must not take the bait, Virgo. You just need to stick to what you do well and keep your mouth closed all week. And make sure that you do not say or put anything in writing that could be used against you at a later date. And that's why I'm saying be very careful, sort of keep your head down and stick to what's important to you, and try to stay out of conversations at least for a whole week. Because Venus is conjuncting Mercury, your own ruler, in Cancer, and that is sextile your sun. So there can be very good family news or good real estate news. Why don't you pay attention to that this week and ignore everybody else if you can, Virgo? You'll be happier. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is simply a time when you can be overjoyed about some sort of tip or conversation or some sort of news coming your way that can be very, very good. In fact, there can be two chances for a favorable change or a very lucky change of some sort that can offer expansion in your life. So it could be some idea that finally gets off the ground and really becomes viable, and that does have help. In other words, yours is the sign of partnership, so either somebody can invite you into a group, and you should say yes to that, Libra, or it can be that you are wanting some extra help right now, and you would be able to get it at least on a part-time basis. So even if it's something that is temporary, it could turn out to be very lucky and very fortunate for you, Libra, which is good because Venus and Mercury in Cancer are squaring your sun, Pluto in Capricorn is squaring your sun, and Uranus in Aries is opposing your sun sign. So there is trouble around, and there are challenges in your life, but there is still a chance for very good news and interaction with people that would just delight you. So I think you should go make some new friends, Libra. You'd be very popular. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a very good time for you, and it is a time of sort of sobering reality, and that is because Saturn is in your sign, and it is a pretty sober planet which rules time. And so this is a time with Saturn retrograde when you might be a person that wants to reconsider an opinion or a decision that you made in the past, and you may want to make sure you've got all the facts right, because your sign is involved in a marvelous grand trine in water signs, because Mercury and Venus in Cancer are trining your sun, and so is Neptune in Pisces. So in order to really help your family out, you may decide to take on an additional burden that might require some sort of sacrifice or hard work, but you'd be doing it in the name of love, or in the name of trying to preserve something that is important to you for the next generation. So there can be very good reasons for you to make a serious commitment, or for you to plan your estate so that you can leave something to the next generation. And so as people are repositioning themselves or re-examining their ideas, you may decide to change your mind on something, and the result would be a deeper commitment. Whatever you decide to do, Scorpio, you are very well qualified to do it. You do not need to worry about that. So if I were you, I would just decide what you want to do in the name of love and then go do it, Scorpio. You're going to be just fine. It would be about July before you get something underway, but that isn't too far away. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarius? Well, Sagittarius, I think that you can almost be the victim of malicious gossip or of some sort of bad luck right now, and that's hard to do because this is actually a very lucky time for most people. And with the Sun and Jupiter in Gemini opposing your Sun, it simply means that somebody else could have some very good news right now, and they could sort of be going on their way, following that along, and that would be fine. It's that Mars is in Gemini, and it is opposing your Sun, and that means there could be trouble brewing if you don't check things out very carefully right now. And I do think somebody is leaving. It might be somebody that is putting an end to something right now. And so there could be a parting of the ways for you, Sagittarius. You won't be lonely for long, though, because today Uranus in Aries is trining your sun, and so is the lucky moon in Leo. And that is indicating a charismatic person that might decide to ask you to join them on some sort of short trip or short endeavor. And I would say yes in a heartbeat if I were you, Sagittarius, because you'd be around somebody that thinks like you do and acts like you. The fire signs are very energetic, and yours is a restless sign. So I think there is opportunity around, but it's not with the people that you've been with. I think somebody else in your life is leaving. I don't think that you'll miss them, though, because you're going to have new friends right away. Congratulations. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, you're a little bit by yourself right now. And the reason why is there are no other planets in Earth signs, and Pluto is in your sign, but it's retrograde. So it can be you that is deciding that you'd better finish something up or go over every bit of your plans, particularly your long-term plans, and see if you are still dedicated to that. And that can be in light of changing policies or rules and regulations that you have to make an adjustment to. Well, everybody does. So you need to think a lot more just about your own plans and your own ideas, Capricorn, and re-examine them. You might want to change your mind about a decision that you've made in the past or a policy that you have followed. Or it can simply be that you want to reevaluate a relationship and you may be changing your mind about that. Whatever decision that you eventually come to upon re-examination, or whatever it is that you really need to go back and sort of finish up in order to achieve a goal, this is the time to do it, Capricorn. And the reason why is that even if it takes you all summer, you will be in a much happier frame of mind and in a better position by September, and I think you'll also be very busy in September. And so I think that this is just a time when you need to readjust your sights a little bit, Capricorn, in light of what your long-term goals are and in light of what other people are doing right now. There can be a move in your future, and that's because there can be a change in real estate terms or a move in somebody else's future, a very fortunate one. And so that's why you sort of need to readjust right now or recalibrate what your plans are based on what other people are doing as well. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is simply a time when I think you can be very, very lucky in two different ways, because Mars, the Sun, and Jupiter are in Gemini are all trining your sun, Aquarius. And so that means that people can be in a real rush to get you involved in something. And I think you could be involved in two different things. And you could be saying to yourself, oh, I've spent all this time proposing projects or doing some research and making sure that things are right, and nobody's taken me up on anything. Well, now they're just going to do that, and they're going to want results so quickly, Aquarius, that you could be a little bit overwhelmed and way too busy, but you'll handle it beautifully. There is somebody, a charismatic person around, who is not going to include you in their plans, and that is because the moon in Leo is opposing your sun sign today, and Saturn in Scorpio is squaring it. So not every great idea of yours is going to be acted upon, but there are people out there that are interested in what you've been doing, Aquarius, and so I think you need to go out and mix and mingle, because you're probably going to have at least two chances, even if they're part-time chances, to make a very favorable change or to have a lucky break right now. And I think you could use one, so I hope you get out there. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a wonderful time for you in light of your family relationships or your old friends who are very loyal. They're there and they can be supporting you 100%, Pisces. But just like Virgo, you really need to watch out for those 3 planets in Gemini, because Mars is the one that could really trip you up right now, Pisces. It is squaring your sun, and the Sun and Jupiter are as well. But that simply means that fortunate change or a lucky tip could challenge you in one way or another. It could upset your plans a little bit, not in a bad way, but still it could sort of throw you off. However, that Mars in Gemini, that represents trouble to you. That means there can be malicious gossip being spread about you, or there can be somebody who's very envious of you right now, Pisces, and you need to stay away from them. You wouldn't necessarily know that about their jealousy or their envy either, because they could be pretending to be a friend, and yet they would not have your best interests at heart at all. And the way you would know that is because they would want to engage you in too much work, too many projects. They would want to be keeping you busy and wearing you out, and that person does not have your best interests at heart. So you too, just like Virgo, need to withdraw a little bit into the confines of a very happy family life or happy home life. There can even be some really good real estate news right now, and delayed news about money coming your way, perhaps in July. So you have all of that to look forward to, but you need to stay with your old friends right now, Pisces. Your new friends may not all be friends, and that is why you need to sort of withdraw a little bit into your cozy home yourself, or stick with people you've known a very long time because you can trust them. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm sorry at times that we have technical difficulties, but we are very devoted to our viewers, and I want to thank all of you who live through these technical difficulties and still tune in. We really appreciate your viewership. All right, remember you can see the show anytime you want on our website, starborninstitute.org.